So what I have here today is a literal barn find. It's not a collector's car or anything. I know that's slang for it, but I actually found this riding mower in a barn that's been there for, you know, who knows, 3 or 4 years, a couple years at least. But let me show you what I got. Yeah, so there we have. This is a Craftsman LT1500, 17.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton, and you can see it's just covered in dust. It did actually sit in a barn for, she said, at least 2 years, and they tried to get it going, I guess, about a year ago, and I'm gauging that off. Yeah, so there's the battery, that 419, so it's barely over a year old. They put a new battery on it and just never could get it started. That left front wheel is the only one that won't hold air. But anyway, so this is what I got. You can see it's, at least it was covered. You know, at least it had a roof over it. So the seat's in good shape. You know, everything is okay. Just pretty dirty. But when I was looking at it, you can see I've been trying to spray it down with some degreaser stuff. It's going to take some heavy duty stuff to try to clean it up under here. But I've been spraying it down, letting it soak in. Maybe when I go and power wash it, maybe it'll come a little cleaner. But you can see, I mean, that's really caked on there. It almost looks like there's an oil leak somewhere. You know what I mean? It's been leaking oil and everything's caked on over the years. But we will find out. I'm going to power wash it down and see what we end up with, you know. Don't know how old it is. Let's see what the numbers say here. A 98. Yeah, so 12 years old or so. But well, let's give it a quick power wash and then we'll go through the whole thing. See if we can get the mower running. And I did notice, you can see how the deck is just, you know, it's already all the way down. It's already resting on the ground, and we're looking at between 2.5 and 3. And when you lift it up, it's, you know, so that just needs some adjusting for sure. That little plastic safety cover looks like it's been cut off, but the blades are rusty. I mean, well, let me power wash this thing up, and then we'll go through it with a fine-tooth comb and just start checking everything, you know what I mean, and see where we stand. Alright, so it cleaned up nicely. I just sprayed it down with the hose. I didn't even use a power washer, but it does look much 100% better. Got the engine cleaned out. All that stuff came off pretty easily. Like I said, I just wanted to get it clean enough where I could work on it, getting all the sludge out. It was really jam-packed here on where the steering linkage is, so it's turning a little better than before. Got all the sludge off the engine there. So I guess the first thing, I'm going to get the engine running for sure. So we'll go through and troubleshoot this, and while I'm taking stuff apart, you know, checking the air cleaner and the carburetor, check the oil, check the spark plug, all the basic stuff. I'm going to see if I can get this battery charged. I'll hook it up while I'm fiddling with everything. Once we get the engine going, then I will turn my attention to the mowing deck and check all the belts, the blades, spindles, all that good stuff. And we'll see if we can get this thing mowing again. It is about 12 years old, but actually it's in pretty good shape. You know, luckily, like I said, luckily it was in a barn, covered at least. And I got the battery charged up. The battery is actually in pretty good shape. Let's see what it does here. I'm going to try to start it. Seems like it's just running really free. I hope there's a... I'll have to check the compression on that. Alright. I guess I'll check the compression, but I think I'm going to feed some fuel or starting fluid or something down straight into the carburetor. And see if it'll try to turn over that way. Alright, I'm trying a new tripod, so hopefully I won't get some weird angles. But, wow. It's full of dirt. I think I'm just going to spray some carb cleaner. Well, that's a good sign. So it tried to turn over. So that's my next thing. I'm going to dig into the carburetor there and see if it needs to be cleaned out, all the good stuff. And this is a lot of gas that's in there. I do not know how old this stuff is. I guess I'll take a quick smell. You know, it's not really that bad. I can tell it is old. So maybe they just recently tried to gas it up and crank it. But, alright, so let's take a look at the carburetor there. Well, I just noticed something here before I start digging into it. It looks like, I think this engine was a transplant. It's obviously saying 17.5 horsepower here, and when I looked up, yeah, it says here data manufacturer 2/20/2011. So it's a 2011 tractor, but this engine is a 98 and it's a 14.5 horsepower. So I think they swapped engines. Alright, so I took the cover off. I just wanted to make sure I know this thing was in a barn. and I just wanted to make sure no mice or anything had gotten in here. That's a perfect spot. Right here seems like a favorite spot for mice to build a nest. But it was good and clean, so you can see some of the fumes coming out. I got it running, and it was pretty simple. It was just I took the carburetor off, cleaned it out, and it was the fuel solenoid here was sticking, so that probably contributed to it. So I just cleaned everything out, made sure that was moving freely, and cleaned the main port, and that was it. And I was worried about this being bad gas, but it's good enough to run, right? So the engine's running good. That was kind of a simple little procedure there. So I just need to go through with the mowing deck. I'll put all this back together, and I know the mower deck belt looked good, but looking at the drive belt, let me see if I can get under here, is just so-so, right? The main deal, yeah, if you can see in there, see that belt there? That is just shot. So I will need to replace that one for sure. That main drive belt's iffy, but I think I'll just replace that one for now, and then concentrate on the mowing deck. I think that's going to need a lot more work. And I want to keep my eye on this engine too, because I mean there was just a lot of sludge. It was really thick, and you see still some of the remains there after I washed it off. And I just want to keep my eye on that and make sure there's no oil leaks anywhere. You can see the seam here for the oil sump pan there. I just want to make sure it's not leaking there either. But it's all said and done. At least it was running. She's been going all day long. But let's see. Let me crank it up for you real quick. But that's that. So that was easy to get it started. I just wish it was the original engine. That's only a 14.5er. But maybe I'll do the job. We'll concentrate on the mowing deck next. Alright, so I started looking at the mowing deck, and you can see I was just able to take this blade off. This thing was just so loose, dangerously loose. This one at first it felt like it was pretty tight, but actually it was just braked right there. And once I pull the, so it's not too bad. I mean, there's some noise to it, but it's moving freely. All these are about the same, so I think they're okay. I'm going to see if I can lube them up and get them to last a little while longer. I'm just going to go ahead and take the blades off for now and sharpen them up and balance them, get those back on, and hopefully by then I will have the belt to replace the belt underneath. I'll have to take the battery off. I think I'll have to take the battery off because you can access it from up here, or I'll see if I have enough room down there. But in the past I've always just taken the batteries off, and it's easier to get to. So let's take care of these blades.
Alright, I'm going to try to bend this back the way it should be. Looks like somebody just bent it out of the way when they replaced the belt. Let me see if I can't bend this back into shape. Shouldn't be too hard to do. Alright, so I got it bent back closest to a 90 degree as I think it needs, but Also, if you noticed, you can see the little scar right here. So this was sitting like that when actually that locator pin is supposed to be right on that hole. So, and I see this a lot. I mean, they slide around pretty easily. So if you're having trouble with your belt always flying off and being disconnected right here, well, this is it. It's because this little keeper is way off over here, and it still gives room for the belt to move. So make sure they're not bent up, and make sure the locator hole is lined up. And that goes for all of them. And there you go. That's where it should be. Alright, so I took the battery out so that you can see down in here. See, here's the belt that needs to be replaced. It's all charred up. And you can see it slipped off the pulley right up here. So that's the one I'm going to replace. It's a tight squeeze between this pulley and the sidewall there. I've put them on before. Did one just a couple of weeks ago, actually. And this is spring loaded. So I need to get under here and make sure that it's not bound up. Yeah, it's pretty tight. So just squeeze that over and put the new belt on. And there's the belt. Alright, I got it in. You can see there's the new belt, and that was a pain in the ass. Just squeezing in right in here between the pulley and the frame here. I don't know if you can see that. Right down in there. And there is even a little indent on the sheet metal there. But definitely have a crowbar ready, and with this it's spring loaded, and usually I'm able to, just yank it over and slip the belt on, but this one was pretty tight. I actually had to take the spring off, then I slipped the belt on, tighten it up, and then pull the spring and latch it on. Yeah, it was a pain. So, but it's done. So I'm going to put the battery back on, back this thing up. I'm going to crank it up first and make sure the transmission's okay before I hook up the mowing deck. looks like it's engine's running good, the transmission's good, the belts are good. Looks like I need to air up one of the tires again. I'm going to check the little valve on it because it's actually a new tire. Looks like it. But I'll air that up. I'll go ahead and hook up the mowing deck now. I guess won't take long. It's just getting freaking hot out here. But let's do this and see if it cuts. Alright, it's all together. It's going up and down. Everything's engaging. Biggest things I've noticed. So you see here, there should be a, that bar that comes around on both sides. Sometimes it's one piece, sometimes it's two separate pieces. The belt keeper there. It's missing that, so this could fly off really easily. And I noticed on this outer, haven't even checked the other one yet, but you can see where the mounting holes are here. So there should be a keeper on this too. But anyway, that seems to be missing all the way around. This one, I think the other side, and then up here on the front. So I won't be surprised if it throws a belt every now and then. But I can always check and see if it cuts. I'm sure it will. Looks like they just cut off the guard there. So what I was looking at, you can see when I started it up, the blades engaged like they should, but they would not disengage. There was still some tension there when and yeah, you can still feel there's tension on the belt. So I think it's that that tensioner pulley. I thought I'd loosen that up, but I'll take a look at the springs under there. But it should be an easy fix. I think I'll just put it up on the lift and see if I can reach anything. But other than that, if I want to find those little belt keepers to put on there, fix the tensioner pulley, but everything else, the engine's running great.
And I guess that's it. I'll just do those other couple of fixes, and I'll probably try to sell it. I mean, I don't have any use for it. I know it doesn't have the original engine. It needs a little work. I'll finish that off, but I'll probably sell it pretty cheap. Because actually it ran pretty smooth, and when I engaged the blades, there was no vibration, hardly any vibration at all. So balancing the blades did a hell of a deal on it. So this was tight, and you noticed when this wasn't the deal. So I was planning on moving this bracket over, but that's actually just a locating hole. There's no adjustment on this one. Some of them there are. Sometimes there's 2 bolts and you can move them back and forth. But with this one, so I took the deck back off so that I have a better view of it. And when I engage the blades, it shrunk in like it should, but you can see it's not releasing. So I took the battery off, and you can see down here, there's the cable, and you see it's not letting loose. So the cable is actually being kinked somewhere. I might try under here, spray some WD-40. I can follow the cable, you know, all the way down. So maybe it's just the cable sticking right in here somewhere. So let's try that. Whew. Well, I think that's it for me. It's getting hot out here, and I have many more projects to do here. I'm just trying to decide which one to do next. But let me know what you think, and thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and watch for my next videos.